It's Market Monday, and if you're interested in Crofton real estate, this is the video for you. It's Monday, December 20th, right before Christmas, and real estate has slowed down a little bit in Crofton. We're going to take a look today at some of the houses that are on the market, under contract, and ones that have settled in the last week or two. It's a good way for you to know exactly what's going on in the real estate market in Crofton. Stay tuned for the information now. What's happening in the active and coming soon market in Crofton this week? If you remember last week, we had 14 houses that were either coming soon or active. This week, we're down to 11. We have 2 houses that are coming soon and 9 that are currently active. The 2 that are coming soon, one of them is at 1711 Bancroft Lane, and the other is at 1868 East Queens Court. Now, it's important when you're looking to buy a house that you do work with an agent, because these coming soon properties can't always be found on some of the major sites that a lot of buyers are looking at. The coming soons are geared to help real estate agents keep track of the inventory that is currently coming to the market. So if you're not working with a realtor, you might not have access to these properties. Looks like the cheapest house in Crofton this week, or actually not the cheapest, the least expensive house is $269,000. That's at 1034 Murdoch Court. Let's take a look at that one real fast. It looks like it is a lower level condo townhome over right by Route 3. Now, it's funny, Crofton has a lot of unique condominiums and townhouses. This one in particular looks like it is a lower unit on what we call a piggyback townhouse. That is where there are 2 units above you and 1 unit below. This one is the lower level, so it goes through the basement of 2 upper level townhouses. It's a good way to have all of your living space on one level. You usually have a nice backyard. This one has a nice fenced backyard with a patio. It is looks like it's a nice place. It's been updated, but you want to make sure when you see a property in Crofton and you look at the townhouse, you want to make sure that you're looking for what you want in terms of if you want a 3-level townhouse, a 2-level townhouse, or a lower level house, and then with somebody living above you. It's real important that you know that, because sometimes you go out to a house and look at it, and if your agent is not familiar with the Crofton townhouse setups, you might be wasting your time if you're looking for a 3-level townhouse and you go and there's a bunch of steps in the front and you go up and then there's somebody living below you in a totally separate unit. So real important when you're dealing with an agent that they know the area. The highest priced house in Crofton again is that one that we went over last week at 2417 Kemper Road. It's still listed at $674,900. Again, that one was right on the golf course. If you remember, or if you didn't watch the video from last week, go back, take a look at it, because there's a lot of information about buying a home on the golf course that could be useful to you if that's what you're interested in. So we have 11 houses, not that many, but that's kind of normal right now. Well, 11 is not normal to be that low, but it always listings, actives, and coming soon always taper down during the Christmas season. So I wouldn't anticipate a huge increase until probably the next year, to be honest. And then you should be starting to get a lot more houses that are active or coming soon. We're going to take a look at the houses that are pending or under contract in just a second. Now let's take a look at the houses that are pending in Crofton. Last week there were 43. Now there looks like there's 41. So we had a couple of houses that closed last week or came off the pending and contract list. It looks like our least expensive house last week was at 1910 Seven Oaks Terrace. That one received the contract, which is always good for everybody. The most expensive house, or the highest priced house in Crofton, is still the house on Bright Court in my neighborhood. Again, I live in Crofton. I've been here for a long time, and it's always good to see these houses increase in price, especially when one's in the neighborhood that I live in, which is Chapman Farm. So that's always good. So pendings and under contract are down to 41. sure a couple of these are going to be closing before the end of the year. There's only 11 days left, and with the holidays, there's not much time to close, but it is going to be nice, I'm sure, for these sellers that their houses are going to go under contract and settle before the end of the year. I know during this time, I had a house close in Odenton where my clients wanted to spend the last Christmas at the house that their kids grew up in. So we were able to settle about 2 weeks ago, and we got a free rent back so that they're able to spend the last Christmas and New Year's in their house. One thing that's important to know when you're selling your house, that you don't necessarily have to be out at settlement. Their rent backs are becoming more and more of a common thing, where you actually still live in the property. You sell the house, you get your money, and then you still live in the property, usually for up to 60 days. And depending on the ability of your agent and the situation, sometimes you're able to negotiate a free rent back where it costs the seller nothing to live in that house for a month or two. It's always nice when you get to bank that. You get the money for the sale of your house, and then you get to bank your the amount of money that you pay to live in it, or your mortgage payment. Get to bank that too. So that's always a good thing. Sometimes you do have to pay for what the buyers are going to pay for their mortgage, but rentbacks are usually negotiable, and it allows the seller to either find a place, spend the last Christmas or New Year's in the house, or just not be rushed to get out of the property. I know my sellers always appreciate a rent back, and buyers are usually more than willing to give sellers rent backs, especially in this market where it is such a good seller's market right now. So 41 houses either pending or under contract. Curious to see what that does next Monday when we do this report, to see how many will have settled by the end of the year. We are going to go through and see what properties have sold in the past week in Crofton. Let's take a look at all the houses that settled last week. We did the last update on December 13th. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 houses settle last week. Looks like 7 of them were either townhouses or condos or a combination of both. And we had 1 single family house settle on the 15th on Irby Drive. I'm very familiar with the Irby Drive settlement, as that was my sellers sold that house. If you're familiar with Crofton, there's a drive, Irby Drive is where they do a great Christmas light display. It is truly remarkable. If you drive by there, it's over right off 450. It is a block of probably 10 to 12 houses now that set up this unbelievable Christmas light display. They have a bunch of activities there for the kids. It is truly a great little spot in Crofton, where the neighbors all get together and make it a very enjoyable holiday Christmas bonanza. So a couple of things that makes Crofton such a great community to live in. You know, I've lived here for 20 years. Had all my 3 kids growing up in Crofton. It's just a great community. It's a great place to live. And Irby Drive is just one example of a group of neighbors that makes a very memorable experience for everyone growing up in Crofton. I know I live in Chapman Farm, like I said a couple of times on these videos. And in my neighborhood, we do the Christmas lights, nothing like Irby, but we do a lot of stuff around Halloween, where I know my kids are now in college and high school, and I know growing up in the neighborhood in Crofton, in Chapman Farm, Walden, all these communities, it's just great. They make it really kid friendly, and it's just a great place to raise a family. I wouldn't trade living here for anything. And that's why I always joke with my wife, we're going to be living here forever. So Irby Drive was my single family house that settled on the 15th. But again, there were 8 others that closed. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of others that close before the end of the year. Everyone is trying to get their house sold before the end of the year. So looks like another one that sold during that time on the same date was 2620 Tallwind Court. I'm familiar with that row of townhouses as well. My first townhouse I lived in was 2624 Tallwind Court. I mentioned it last week. Backs right to the 10th hole at Walden. Again, whoever's buying that house at 2620 is going to love living there, right off the golf course in a spot that you don't get hit with too many golf balls, if any, and you get to watch the golfers and watch the approach shots coming in on 10. And then I know when I lived there, some late afternoons we could do a little bit of golfing out there. It was a lot of fun. So that house sold for $440, 2620 Tallwind Court. I bought that house at 2624 Tallwind for $161,000 in I think it was 92. So went up a lot. Crofton Real Estate usually does a good job in holding its value, but it's again, great place to live. And we have 8 new families that are moving into the area. I'm sure they're going to love living here. So that looks like the 21 houses that settled this month. And I'm sure there's going to be a couple more or a bunch more for our video next week. So there you have it. The houses that settled this week. Thanks for watching the video today on the Crofton real estate market and what it's doing. Again, my name is Rick Gloekler, and I'm a real estate agent with RE/MAX. I live in Crofton, have lived here since 1992. It's definitely a great place to live. And if you have any questions about your real estate or have questions about buying or selling in the area, please reach out to me. I'm here to help. Thanks.